Lately, I have been obsessed with the Microfreak.
Freebie.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Today's patron shoutout goes to Howard Anderson. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. I have had my Arturia Microfreak for almost 2.5 years now, and I finally feel like I'm giving it the proper attention that it deserves. I have been obsessed with this thing lately, and I can't stop playing it, which is really interesting for me because it's just a synthesizer. Now, typically off camera, I don't play with just synths by themselves. Typically off camera, I'm usually playing with a groove box like the Deluge or the Sample Track. But for the past week or so, I have had this thing constantly plugged in and ready to go. I'm not exactly sure what has changed, but I do know that my opinion has. Now, I've always thought the Microfreak was a great deal, a wonderful budget synthesizer at $349 US. However, when I said my opinion has changed, I have really begun to believe that this is the best synthesizer you can get for under $400 US, unless you're specifically looking for analog. There is just so much here on this synth. One might argue the only thing missing are some effects, and those are pretty easy to implement with things like the Korg NTS1, the Zoom MS-70 CDR. Really, any effects pedal or effects unit you want will work just fine with this. You just plug it in. It also only has 4-note polyphony. But for a lot of applications, that is plenty, especially given the price tag, again, of $349 US. Now, I know Arturia recently released the Minifreak, which does indeed look amazing, and I plan on checking one out at some point this year. However, it's also $600 US, and I still think that, at least from what I've seen, is a really good deal. For what you get a second oscillator, you get, I believe, 6-note polyphony, you also get a really cool effects section, and a whole lot more. But for what it offers, the Microfreak is amazing. So let's go ahead and play around with an initialized patch here, and just do a bit of messing around with it and seeing where we can get. So one thing I've been really into lately is movement in my sounds. And I know that sounds silly because that's really a huge advantage of electronic music, is that we can control the movement of our sounds, and that's what makes them interesting. However, I've only recently really gotten into it, which I guess in itself is its own kind of breakthrough for me as an electronic musician. So let's go ahead and pick an oscillator type here. How about, let's go Superwave. Yeah, that's a good one. We've got the wave knob controlling the wave shape. We've got the timbre knob controlling the detune. And then we've got the shape knob controlling the volume between our oscillators, I believe. Yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and get some rhythmic movement in this sound by using our LFO. So, using the digital patch bay here, if we go down to the LFO row, we can send that to the pitch of our sound, the wave knob parameter, the timbre knob parameter, the filter cutoff parameter, which this is an analog filter, by the way, low pass, band pass, and high pass, or we have 3 custom assign slots that we can basically assign any control on, or any parameter on the Microfreak to one of those slots. Could be kind of cool maybe to change our wave shape with the LFO. So let's go ahead, that's on the wave knob, we'll go to LFO and wave knob, and I'm just going to max out the depth of this modulation. Now before we hit play, let's go ahead and make sure that our LFO sync is on, which is this little light here, and if we turn it, we can actually choose our division. So I want to go 16th notes. There we go. That's cool, but I want the modulation here to be a bit more randomized, a little less easy to predict. So we can change the shape of our LFO. We can actually send it down here to random. Now that is cool, it's a neat little sound, but let's take this a step further and combine it with the built-in arpeggiator on the Microfreak. We can use the hold button here to hold our arpeggio active. Let's go ahead and change our wave type. So right there, our LFO is, of course, modulating the wave knob because we didn't change that. However, because we're on a new oscillator type, the wave knob in this case is the detune, which is why we're getting that nice detuned randomization in there. Now let's go ahead and use the spice and dice features here to further mess with our arpeggio. So what these do is basically affect the notes and the randomization of the arpeggio, the notes and the beats played, and we adjust those by switching between them here with these capacitive buttons and then using the touch strip to set the value. So I'm going to put hold on. Really cool stuff, as you can tell there. I messed with the release on the amp envelope as well as the filter cutoff. Let's go ahead and send the filter cutoff, send the cycling envelope to control the filter cutoff. I'm going to set the depth at 100 just for demonstration purposes. With our cycling envelope, we can use it as a normal envelope, a second envelope, or we can actually run it as an LFO, which is really cool, a second LFO. Super cool. However, we can go even further and we can just straight up change the playback style of our arpeggiator. So right now we have it set to up by default. We can also go order. Or we can go to random. I'm going to turn on hold and play this E, G, and A, and then also go in and play with the dice feature again. How cool is that? And that was all done just with a very basic oscillator type and two little modulations and then just a little bit of tweaking to the arpeggiator. We also have a sequencer built in here, and we can go ahead and sequence a sequence, nice, as we like. Okay, very basic. Let's have a listen. Now you might be wondering, do spice and dice also affect the sequencer? And the answer is yes. So there you go, just a little bit of what I've been doing with the Microfreak lately. I've been plugging it into Ableton and recording some of these sequences and arpeggios and finding really fun ways to use them. I'm just really obsessed with this thing right now and the movement that it can create in its sounds. We barely touched on, just surface level things here, but you can get lost in the Microfreak for hours, days, weeks, probably even years. And the fact that it is so darn affordable at less than $400 just really pushes it over the top for me as an incredible budget synthesizer. So I do hope you found this video informative or at least entertaining. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.